All right. Smooth breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It's 17 minutes past 8 a.m. It's a feel good Friday morning. Ayokunmi here on the Smooth Breakfast, making sure that you have a great start to your Friday with the weekend in prospect. But before then, it is that time for us to take a walk into the locker room. It's all about sports at this point in time. So many things to talk about, so many developments we need to bring to your attention as well. And we love it when you also join us and share your thoughts on the stories that we will be talking about, a number of them, like I mentioned. So, welcome along to the journey with us. And by us, I mean me in the studio and the one and only Tega Supreme joining in as well. Tega, good morning to you. Welcome into the locker room.
Good morning, Ayokunmi. Thank God it's Friday.
True that. True that. So
All
now,
right. So this morning, what's happening this morning, Seth? Oh, we are. It's a mixed basket for the Super Eagles. We're going to talk about that. In fact, we should open the phone lines very early and take people's thoughts on the Super Eagles of Nigeria um for AFCON and then in lieu of the World Cup. So we'll talk
right.
about that this morning. We'll also touch a little bit on tennis, what's happening in the ATP finals. We'll also talk about a few matches in the Nations League, and then we'll have one or two moments to laugh at Ghana. As usual, if you don't laugh at Ghana, show will not be complete. All right, so we have all of that and more coming up in the locker room. But before we do any talking, Ayoku, tell us how can we be a part of the locker room this morning?
All right, so join us on the locker room this morning. All you need to do is to send your messages in on WhatsApp. That's one way. 0809 981 0809 0981. That's the WhatsApp number. You can also call us on the studio line. That is 0201 44 89981. 0201 44 89981. And we're also streaming live on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Join us on the live stream. And of course, leave your comments there as well. We always look forward to seeing them and taking them as the show gets along. All right, Tega, let's get into the groove straight up. It's all about the Super Eagles. It was a 1-1 draw yesterday. In case you did not know, now you do. Victor Osimhen scored an equalizer in the final minutes of the 2025 AFCON qualifying clash against Benin Republic to ensure that Nigeria finishes in Group D as the winners.
Yes, so before they even kicked the ball yesterday, Nigeria had already qualified um, for the tournament because Libya defeated Rwanda.
Wonder.
And so when Libya scored that late goal against Rwanda, it automatically qualified Nigeria for the next round because nobody can catch them up enough to knock them out.
Mm.
But we had to cement, group status, and that's where Nigeria's play came in. Um, s- I don't know. I don't know if Nigeria hearing that they had qualified had any impact on the way they were playing. Because I mean they played so badly in the first half, in the sense that they were not creating enough chances. They
True.
seemed a bit disjointed. The left wing looked weak. There were problems in the first half that by the second half, August you could tell that the team wanted to win because Augustine Eguavoen made several changes immediately, to try and add some more to the attack. But they came back in the second half and played even more poorly. In fact, the first 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, Nigeria was surviving because Republic of Benin had several one-on-one chances that they should have finished up and they would have been 3 goals up. Unfortunately for them, unfortunately for Nigeria, they didn't have the quality to finish off the chances that they created. However, Nigeria used their one quality chance with El Simen. That's what we are calling him now. With El Simen leaping that high and scoring the equalizer. But yes, not a really good performance. So let's just open the phone lines from the top now. About the Super Eagles after the performance last night, because this is not about AFCON again. We are going, but
It's
after the
beyond.
performance, we are going. But after the performance last night, Nigeria has been to the AFCON 20 times. They've won it only 3 times. That's F9, if you ask me. F9. Yes, now 3/20 is it F9? It's not F9. Am I lying or am I lying?
But
All right,
Tega,
so
now context is key. Context is also key. I mean, Egypt have 7. How many appearances have they had as well?
but we have 20. We have only 3. All of it is F9. I don't care what you say. Now, Nigeria has gone to the AFCON 20 times. It's won it 3 times. And remember, at the World Cup qualifier, we are no longer hanging by a thread. We are hanging by hope now. Because physically, I don't think we are connected to qualifying for the World Cup. We
Even
are
the
just
hope is not
hanging by
sure. Even the hope is not even sure that
even
there
the hope
is.
is not hoping very well. All right. So at this point in time, with the performance of Nigeria yesterday, what are your hopes for number one, Nigeria winning the AFCON, because it's not performing at the AFCON, it's winning it. Last time we went to the final, we still lost. Is Nigeria winning the AFCON number one, and Nigeria qualifying for the 2026 World Cup number two? The numbers to call are
Right, the numbers to call are 0201 4489981. 0201 4489981. That is the studio line. Come through. And of course, share your thoughts on the Super Eagles of Nigeria after the game yesterday against Republic of Benin. I mean, looking at the performance, do you think that the Nations Cup in 2025 is one that they can actually go to and, of course, bring glory to the country? And, of course, as well, qualification for the 2026 World Cup. We're already in a terrible situation there. Can the Super Eagles, pull a rabbit out of the hat and get themselves to USA and so on and so forth? Hello, good morning. Very good morning to you. Who's talking to us? Ifedaya, welcome. Talk to us.
Yeah, for me, my own view, I believe Super Eagles cannot win the World Cup. No, sorry, they cannot qualify for the World Cup. If they qualify, it's going to be a bonus. And to win the Nations Cup, I don't think they can do it because they have been very inconsistent. They are just like us now. So that's my only point. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you, Fedaya. Saying the Super Eagles are just like Arsenal, too inconsistent. Wow.
Netflix series.
Wait for next season. Oh my goodness. Let's keep those thoughts coming in. 0201 4489981. That is the studio. And you can also send your messages to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. YouTube is also there for you to drop your comments. It's at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. We'll take the comments as well as we get along. All right, so while we wait for more of your thoughts to come in, check it. Let's talk about tennis. Real quick, it's the ATP finals still on our minds. And world number one, Yannick Sinner, continued his perfect start at the ATP finals with a dominant win over Russian Daniil Medvedev.
Remember, I told you that the Yannick Sinner and Alcaraz, they are several levels ahead of the rest of the field. The difference between Yannick and Alcaraz is that Yannick Sinner is more methodical and therefore more consistent. Carlos Alcaraz can have bad days, and on those bad days, you beat him. All right. So Yannick Sinner had already qualified for the next round. The question was, had he won the group? Was he going to be able to win the group or not? This guy did not even have any conscience or any pity or any empathy. He doesn't do CSR apparently, because you've already qualified. Why did you beat Daniil Medvedev so convincingly? Daniel needed to win in straight sets to even have any hope of making it through to the next round, because Taylor Fritz had won 2 matches, albeit he won 1 in 3 sets. Yannick Sinner did not even give Daniil Medvedev breathing space, qualified or not, which is how I expected the Eagles. I expected the Super Eagles to approach Benin that way. We've qualified, but we'll just beat you for culture. Do you understand? And that's what I expected, the Super Eagles to do that they didn't do. But Yannick Sinner did it in front of his home crowd, them chanting and cheering for every single point. He beat Daniil Medvedev convincingly, like, I'm going to dash your hope because I've heard that it is the hope that kills. And so, he beat him so that Daniil Medvedev will not die. And he beat him convincingly. So yes, Yannick Sinner has qualified and still the top of the group. Today is the turn of Carlos Alcaraz. Remember, he lost his first match in straight sets. He won
Right.
his second match in straight sets. To have any hope of qualifying, he has to beat Sasha Zverev. Well, in straight sets, to be confident, because his match is the first match.
That's a tough ask.
Yeah, his match is the first match, so he needs to beat Sasha Zverev in straight sets. Now, the problem with that is that Sasha Zverev is the one in more consistent form than Carlos Alcaraz is in. And yes, Carlos Alcaraz knows how to beat Sasha Zverev. However, in recent times, Sasha Zverev has also been able to nick one against him. So he needs to get his act together. His results will still be dependent on the later match, but ultimately, to make sure that he makes it through to the next round, he has to win his straight sets.
Definitely has to win in straight sets. We'll definitely be keeping our eyes peeled on that one to see how it all plays out. Very interesting what's going on in the ATP finals. Also, something interesting is what's going on in the NBA as well, as Victor Wembanyama became the fourth youngest player to score 50 points in an NBA game as he led the San Antonio Spurs to a 139-130 win over the Washington Wizards.
Look, now I'll tell you, I've been saying this since ever since San Antonio Spurs signed Victor Wembanyama. But first of all, let's talk about San Antonio Spurs now, because their coach had a mild stroke. Greg Popovich had a stroke, and so he hasn't been the one caught side. And we're looking forward to seeing how well he can recover. So he hasn't been the one caught side for San Antonio Spurs, but we wish Greg Popovich speedy recovery. Apart from being the coach of San Antonio Spurs, what he's done for American basketball, what he's done for the NBA culture, not just in America but globally, is a really huge one. And it's just sad to see Granddaddy Popovich, in this kind of situation. I mean, if you're talking about coaches in the NBA, when you talk Phil, you have to definitely mention Greg Popovich in just about the same sentence. So tough one, but we reaching speedy recovery. But back to the game and Victor Wembanyama. Look, from the minute he was drafted first round pick, we all knew that this guy was something else. Because normally it's a struggle to see a big guy who can play solid defensively, who can make good jump shots, who can make free throws effectively. Ask any big guy. Big guys struggle with free throws. And then they also tend to struggle making 3-pointers. None of that is a problem with Victor Wembanyama. Any area of the pitch, I keep saying pitch because I'm watching football.
Of the court.
Any area of the court, he will give it to you. And which is why he's a freak. It's crazy. Think about it. He scored 50 on the night. On the same night, Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 59 to get his team a win with the Bucks. But Giannis Antetokounmpo struggles from the free throw line. Victor Wembanyama doesn't struggle from anywhere. If you give him a 3-pointer, he will score consistently.
And he's still just 20. That's a scary thing.
And he's still just 20, not once in a while. So fantastic lad. 50 points for the win. Unfortunately, the San Antonio Spurs are still in a rebuild. And with the way things are going, it will be long before they start competing again. And that's what is a struggle for me. I would like to see Victor Wembanyama win with the San Antonio Spurs, but the team is just not ready when you think of all the other pieces together. So tough one. We'll always keep getting all these Victor Wembanyama highlights and Victor Wembanyama nights. But it's going to be a while before we start seeing a San Antonio Spurs win, because the team is still rebuilding. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, we need to take a quick breather. When we come back in, we'll talk about the Nations League and, of course, England getting a big win against Greece in their game yesterday evening. Don't go anywhere. Keep it tuned. This is Smooth 98.1. Woo! Why is it hot all of a sudden in here?
Can you imagine? So I'm looking at this thing, roadworthiness is now 9,000 naira. Jesus.
How much is vehicle license?
4,500.
Okay.
No, it is like all of them have still gone up now. It's madness. Should we even be? Oh God.
Uh, I'll think about it in February.
I have to think about it now. My papers expire in 1 day. They expire literally tomorrow.
Sharply running to if camera catch you, another problem.
Camera is on its own. It's very, very stupid camera.
Okay.
And let me go on. No, I'm doing it because and I mean I'm the one that's going to find out what I need to do because I know already papers are delayed, but I'm not going to fret again. 4, 5, 9,000 for what? Because of motor.
Well, now you won't drive
I'm,
motor now.
I'm not. I've not even added insurance, so because even third party insurance is 15K. Can you
Yeah,
remember?
15K. Yeah, 15K for that one.
Okay,
Uh,
let's come back.
no, be small. Let's get back in. If you're just tuning in, you are welcome into the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life, and of course, love sports station as well. Ayokunmi here. Alongside me is Tega Supreme. We are taking a look at the sporting stories that have been making the rounds in the last 24 hours or thereabouts. So much we've been talking about, and there's still so much to come as well. So we need you to be a part of this conversation. Join us on WhatsApp. That's one way, 0809 444 0981. 0201 4489981 is the studio line. You can also join us on YouTube and drop a comment there as well at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, Tega, you are welcome back into the locker room. Before we went to that break, I mentioned we're going to talk about the Nations League and England, who are, standing tall after a win against Greece as the understudies of the team ignored the controversy over Hurricanes' criticism of the team's absentee stars as they beat Greece 3-0 on Thursday to keep alive their hopes of Nations League promotion.
I don't know why people are making it look like Hurricane said anything wrong. Did he lie? I mean, he didn't tell any lie. People were just pulling out and exaggerating injuries for England. Then, as if you know how it is, life likes to show you. England now won against Greece convincingly. Remember, it was Greece that beat England in the reverse leg, and then England now beat Greece convincingly by 3 goals to nil. But it's a big deal, and some people were saying that the coach benched Harry Kane because of that. I don't think so, and I even think it would be dumb for any coach to bench a player for saying that you should pick England first. Because think about it, everybody pulling out, apart from if I say Carlos Saka, Bukayo Saka, who we saw pick up the injury in that match against Arsenal. For Arsenal, that he had to get stretched out of the pitch. I remember he was rushed up back in because Arsenal was struggling. So obviously he was struggling with an injury. And then Declan Rice, who had the broken toe, who was even a doubt before the match and then had to play and then was substituted off. Apart from those two, half the names of that team, they are just tired. All they needed to do was sleep, wake up, and come back and play again. What are they doing? What are they saying that they're injured for? What is injuring them? Cole Palmer, what is doing you?
Maybe it's not cold at the
Really?
moment. It's not cold right now.
Okay, it's not cold. Okay. So half of them were coming up with even replacements were saying that they were injured. And so I understand why Harry Kane was speaking out as the captain of the team. He had every right to speak out, and I don't care what people are saying that he for team spirit. Team spirit means you should be committed 100% to. It shouldn't just be that I should be covering your back. You should also be committed for team spirit to rebuild. So on that, I am with Harry Kane. You can question how he went about it, but the truth of the matter is, so many people were pulling out in a crucial game that England needed. However, the English Premier League had done something several years ago that is beginning to yield results, where they said you must have a certain quota of English players playing in your Premier League club, for your Premier League club to be a Premier League club. And so those has delivered players that are of good quality. I mean, Curtis Jones on his first day playing brilliantly and then capping it off with a goal. So good work for him. Only working, starting, and reminding people that, look, I'm a good goal scorer. So yeah, he gave other players a chance. And at the end of the day, Thomas Tuchel is watching. Because remember, Thomas Tuchel resumes from the 1st of January.
Right.
He's not just going to be looking at players that have quality, he's going to be looking at players that are committed. And he's German. He doesn't owe the rest of you any legendary status. So he'll pick based on form and based on commitment. So whilst you are here withdrawing from team, just remember that. It's that simple.
It is that simple. Commitment. That is one thing that I'm pretty sure Thomas Tuchel, as you mentioned, is not going to joke with at all. All right, let's look at a couple of more games coming out of the Nations League. Let's talk about our Italian friends. Sandro Tonali fired Italy into the Nations League quarterfinals with the only goal in Thursday's 1-0 win over Belgium in Brussels, completing his Azzurri comeback from a gambling ban which cost him a place at Euro 2024. Belgium.
Yeah, man, Belgium right now, they are drilling for oil. That's all I can say with this form. They're drilling for oil. And remember that the turmoil with the Belgium team is beyond the pitch. They have the issues where, remember how Courtois decided that he's not playing again under this particular coach,
Right.
and how other players have struggled under this particular coach. So it is a turmoil of not just tactics, but internal politics. And the Belgian FA had decided that they were going to stick with the coach. But for how long? Because now the results are being affected. And Belgium is looking at relegation. It's not even missing out on the on the quarterfinals. It's looking at relegation. They're going to drop into the lower groups in the UEFA Nations League. So tough one for Belgium at this point in time. My own question is, when are they going to sack him? This year, next year, sometime, or never? But it looks like it's coming. You can only support a coach over big name players for so long. When the results start waning, then you will now have to decide that, okay, clearly it's obviously time to change. And that's where Belgium is at the moment. But for Italy, they are getting good results. But this is the Italian side these days. They come in, qualify for a tournament, perhaps win a trophy or two, and then they go on another long run of bad results. But so far, so good. Yesterday's game wasn't the most brilliant of games, but they were able to get the result they needed, and they're through to the quarters.
Good one for Italy there. Belgium, it's just a sad time for them. I'm just thinking about that golden generation in quotes that they had that weren't able to win anything. It doesn't seem as if the players coming into the fold right now are up there in terms of the best quality. So maybe it's just the manager who is not up to speed, but something definitely
Let's
needs
wait
to
and
change
see
for
how
them.
it is. Spain also had a golden generation. Remember, with the time of Raul, they didn't win anything. Then entered them Iniesta and Xavi, and they couldn't stop winning. So let's see how it works.
Let's see how it works. All right, let's talk about some club football here. And Claudio Ranieri is in the news. I thought this man had retired, but anyways, Claudio Ranieri is set to take charge of his hometown team Roma, coming out of retirement to become the Serie A club's third coach of a troubled season. Roma cannot catch a break, but Ranieri, I thought you had hung up your boots.
Yeah, but you see, it is his home club. That is the catch. So he's coming in to see out the rest of the season and then pick up a managerial role in picking the next coach. Now, whilst this may sound like a good long-term plan, it always has its repercussions, because if he comes in and Roma doesn't experience a turnaround, it will now be hard to retain him in that managerial position. Remember what happened at Manchester United with what's his name? Ralph Ragnick.
Ralph Ragnick, yes.
That was what was supposed to happen. Just help, settle the team and then maybe take up a more technical role later on. But once the results don't come, if you can't coach, how do you want to pick the person that can coach? It's usually the issue with all this kind of arrangements. But what it is Ranieri did not want to coach. He had retired. He'd hung up his boots. He's good. But because Roma are in this problem, and like I said, he's a home team, he decided to help. I'm just saying that this agreement was the worst kind of agreement. So unnecessary to do that.
Mm.
So let's see how it works for Roma. I'm actually ecstatic that Roma is going through this issue, because I remember how they said,
Really?
yes, they said Mourinho was the problem. They insulted a whole Jose Mourinho, and then they put in their favorite Rossi, and then they
Gianluigi Rossi, yeah.
embarrassed Rossi, and then they embarrassed Rossi out of the position. Then Juric thought that he was going to be any different. I hope they keep going through this turmoil for just doing that.
All right. You mentioned Spain earlier. Let's talk about them. As the Spain coach Luis de la Fuente called up Barcelona's 17-year-old defender Pau Kubasi on Wednesday to replace Pau Torres for the Nations League matches against Denmark and Switzerland.
Yes. So it's like Barcelona will discover all these people from the crutch, and somehow Spain will benefit. That's what it is. Because think of the young players that are coming through for Spain. They're coming through Barcelona. Really interesting one. But yeah, that's the good news for the Spanish side, that that a club like Barcelona at the top of his game is bringing in youngsters that can feature for the team. Like I said, the injuries for Spain have been mounting for a while, and how they've continued to win is only down to the fact that the La Liga is producing stars for the Spanish national team. And so when an injury comes, it's not like the player is not missed, but they don't worry too much, because they're like, there's a 17-year-old somewhere coming out from one of these teams. And so Kubasi has his opportunity now to represent Spain at the national level. I think the headache will come for De La Fuente when everybody is fit and he has to pick a squad for a tournament. That's when he will have a headache. But for now, let him enjoy the fact that he has options.
Well, that's probably a headache that he wouldn't mind having, to be
You know,
honest. When you have an embarrassment of riches, although it could backfire because there's so many amazing players, you just don't pick the right combination. But anyways,
exactly.
he's what he's the one getting paid for that, not me. So let him worry about all that. Let's take messages as we get up out of the locker room this morning. Bimbo from VI says, Tega, Arsenal has gone to the Champions League for more than 20 years. How many them don't win? Allow Gunners answer also. Wow.
It's
Arsenal.
still F9. Oh, it's F9.
AY from Mineru says, the Benenoir boys gave the Super Eagles a run for their money last night. Thank God for Air Osimhen, who saved us from losing that match. In other news, Rafinha played his first match wearing the famous number 10 shirt for Brazil, and he scored a beautiful free kick to salvage a 1-1 draw for them against Venezuela. Argentina lost, so there's that as well. Emeka says, looking at the table, automatic qualification for the World Cup is already out of the question. But if we play well, we could make the playoffs and qualify from there. Our West African neighbors play Angola today. They're currently bottom of their group with 2 points. Let's pray for them. Lastly, I was watching France yesterday, and I was wondering if it's an African team that was playing, as all their players were all of African descent except Hernandez. Emeka, no be today. No be today at all. Dan says, when Harry Kane lifts that plate in Germany in the German league, he will come to understand the reasoning around his outburst. Until then, he doesn't know what players' profiles look. I don't understand what you mean, Dan. But thank you for sending the message. Aya from Festac says, never knew that the quarterfinals have been introduced into the UEFA Nations League. Has UEFA not created another Euros by default? We wonder as well. Oluwaseyi says, only Foden, Colwell, and Palmer had no known injuries because they both played 90 minutes in their last Premier League games. Grealish still hasn't played for Man City since his injury and is clearly still recovering, and yet he was called up
He's
to the
not
England
recovering
squad.
anything. He's recovered. He doesn't have great form. Instead of him to come back home and try to find form with the national team, he was sitting back to hustle position with Manchester City.
Oh my goodness. Let me take some on YouTube. I think a couple of comments are on YouTube here. Okay, Uche Nawokoye says, not a wonderful display by our boys, but we have qualified. Next focus is the World Cup. We have the players. Let's apply ourselves, and victory is ours. All righty. Thank you for your thoughts, Uche. Thank you for sending your messages, and thank you, Tega, for joining me once again on a Friday, the locker room.
All right. So have a great weekend, everybody. When we come back, we'll be talking more UEFA Nations League. Spain plays today. So by Monday, we'll be having all those conversations. And then on Monday, the Super Eagles of Nigeria take on Rwanda in Uyo. So we'll have a bit of that. Maybe I'll be reporting live from Uyo. On that note, have a great weekend.
All right, have a great weekend, Tega. Thank you. And thank you all for being a part of the show. As always, keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1. We're going to get into a conversation on Lagos Talks at 9. We're talking defamation this morning, what you need to know from a legal perspective so you don't cross certain lines that you shouldn't be crossing. Keep it tuned. Will be every jump, every jump, every break, every breakaway, every cross. Three, fourth will be.
Buckaroo on the Smooth Breakfast, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:15.
We will be following.
I love my soul music. I love life. I love digging what I'm listening to, and that's why I listen to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. I am Ola Onubli.